Welcome back to the Daily Bread, part 170. We'll be reading Deuteronomy chapter 29, Isaiah chapter 30, Psalms 18, rather biggie, Proverbs 19, and 2 Corinthians chapter 6. We'll be in the Scriptures 2009 version, Deuteronomy chapter 29 on page 217. These are the words of the covenant which Yahweh commanded Moshe to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, besides the covenant he made with them at Horeb. And Moshe called all Israel and said to them, You yourselves saw all that Yahweh did before your eyes in the land of Mizraim, to Pharaoh and to all his servants and to all his land. Your eyes saw the great trials, the signs, and those great wonders. But Yahweh has not given you a heart to know, and eyes to see, and ears to hear till this day. And I have fed you 40 years in the wilderness. Your garments have not worn out on you, and your sandals have not worn out on your feet. You ate no bread and drank no wine, nor strong drink, so that you might know that Yahweh your Elohim. And when you came to this place, Sihon, sovereign of Heshbon, and Og, sovereign of Bashan, came out against us to battle, and we struck them, and took their land, and gave it as an inheritance to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and half the tribe of the Menashe. Therefore you shall guard the words of this covenant, and do them, so that you prosper in all that you do. All of you are standing today before Yahweh your Elohim, your leaders, your tribes, your elders, your officers, all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and your sojourner who is in the midst of your camp. From the one who cuts your wood to the one who draws your water, so that you should enter into covenant with Yahweh your Elohim, and into his oath which Yahweh your Elohim makes with you today, in order to establish you today as a people for himself, and he himself be your Elohim, as he had spoken to you, and as he has sworn to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And not with you alone. I am making this covenant and with this oath, but with him who stands here with us today before Yahweh our Elohim, as well as with him who is not here with us today. For you know how we dwelt in the land of Mizraim, and how we passed through the nations which you passed through. And you saw their abominations, and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were with them. Lest there should be among you a man or woman or clan or tribe whose heart turns away today from Yahweh our Elohim, to go and serve the mighty ones of these nations. Lest there should be among you a root bearing bitterness or wormwood. And it shall be, when he hears the words of this curse, that he should bless himself in his heart, saying, I have peace, though I walk in the stubbornness of my heart, in order to add drunkenness to thirst. Yahweh would not forgive him, but rather the displeasure of Yahweh and his jealousy shall burn against that man, and every curse that is written in this book shall settle on him. And Yahweh shall blot out his name from under the heavens. And Yahweh shall separate him for evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the Torah. And the generation to come of your children who rise up after you, and the foreigner who comes from a far land shall say, when they see the plagues of that land and sickness which Yahweh has sent into it, all its land is sulfur, salt, and burning. It is not sown, nor does it bear, nor does any grass grow there, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Edom and Sodom, Sheboim, which Yahweh overthrew in his displeasure and in his wrath. And all nations shall say, why has Yahweh done this to this land? What does the heat of this great displeasure mean? And it shall be said before they have forsaken the covenant of Yahweh Elohim of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them out of the land of Mizraim, and they went and served other mighty ones, and bowed themselves to them, mighty ones that they did not know, and that he had not given to them. Therefore the displeasure of Yahweh burned against this land, to bring on it every curse that is written in this book. And Yahweh uprooted them from the land in displeasure and in wrath and in great rage, and cast them into another land, as it is today. The concealed matters belong to Yahweh, our Elohim, but what is revealed belongs to us and to our children forever, to do all the words of this Torah. Isaiah chapter 30 on page 436. Woe to the stubborn children, declares Yahweh, to make counsel but not from me, and to devise plans but not of my spirit, in order to add sin to sin, who are setting out to go down to Mizraim, and have not asked my mouth, to be strengthened in the strength of Pharaoh, and to seek refuge in the shadow of Mizraim. And the strength of Pharaoh shall become your shame, and the refuge in the shadow of Mizraim your confusion. For his princes were at Sohan, and his messengers came to Hanes. They were all ashamed of the people who did not profit them, not for help or profit, but a shame and also a reproach. The message concerning the beasts of the south, capital S there, though through a land of trouble and distress, from which came the lioness and lion, the adder and fiery serpent. They convey their riches on the backs of young donkeys, and their treasures on the humps of camels, to an unprofitable people, even Mizraim, whose help is vain and empty. Therefore I have called her Rahim Shebeth, and go, write it before them on a tablet, and inscribe it on a scroll, for it is for a latter day, a witness forever. That is a rebellious people, lying children who refuse to hear the Torah of Yahweh, who says to the seers, do not see, and to the prophets, do not prophesy to us what is right, speak to us what is smooth, prophecy deceits. Turn aside from the way, swerve from the path, cause the set apart one of Israel to cease from before us. Therefore, thus said the set apart one of Israel, because you despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness, and rely on them. Therefore their crookedness is to you like a breach, ready to fall, a bulge in a high wall, whose breaking comes suddenly, swiftly. And he shall break like the breaking of a potter's vessel, which is broken in pieces, without sparring, so that there is not among its fragments a shard to take to fire from the hearth, or to take water from the cistern. For thus said the Master, Yahweh, the set apart one of Israel: in returning and rest you are saved. In stillness and trust your strength. In stillness and trust is your strength, but you would not. And you said, no, for we flee upon horses. Therefore you flee. And we ride on swift horses. Therefore those who pursue you are swift. 1,000 flee at the rebuke of one. At the rebuke of 5 you shall flee until you are left as a pole on top of a mountain, and as a sign on a hill. And therefore Yahweh shall wait to show you favor, and therefore he shall be exalted to have compassion on you. For Yahweh is an Elohim of right ruling. Blessed are those who wait for him. For the people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem. You shall weep no more. He shall show much favor to you at the sound of your cry. When he hears, he shall answer you. Though through Yahweh, though Yahweh gave you bread of adversity and water of affliction, your teachers shall no longer be thrust in a corner, but your eyes shall see your teacher. Capital T there. And your ears hear a word behind you saying, this is the way. Capital W. It's one of the things they used to, how they referred to Yeshua's movement at the time. They called it the way. Take what you will. This is the way. Walk in it. Whenever you turn to the right, or whenever you turn to the left, you shall defile the covering of your graven images of silver, and the plating of your molded images of gold. You shall throw them away as a menstrual cloth, and say to them, be gone, and he shall give the rain of your seed with which you sow the ground, and bread of the increase of the earth, and it shall be fat and rich, your cattle grazing in an enlarged pasture in that day, and the oxen and the young donkeys that work the ground eat seasoned fodder, widowed with shovel and fan. And on every high mountain and on every high hill there shall be rivers and streams of waters in the day of great killing, when the towers fall. And the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun, and the light of the sun be sevenfold as the light of 7 days in the day, that Yahweh binds up the breach of his people and heals the wound of his blows. And see, the name, capital N, of Yahweh is coming from afar, burning with his wrath and heavy smoke. His lips shall be filled with rage, and his tongue be a devouring fire. And his breath shall be as an overflowing stream, which reaches up to the neck, too swift. The nations with a sieve of falsehood and misleading bridle on the jaws of the peoples. Let the song be to you as in the night set apart for a festival, and gladness of heart as he who is going with a flute, to come into the mountain of Yahweh, to the rock of Israel, and Yahweh shall cause his excellent voice to be heard, and show the coming down of his arm with raging wrath, and the flame of a consuming fire, with scattering downpour and hailstones. For through the voice of Yahweh, Ashur is broken down, with a rod he strikes, and every passage of the ordained staff which Yahweh lays on him shall be with tambourines and lyres, when he shall fight with it, battling with a brandishing arm. For Tophath was ordained as old, even for the sovereign has been prepared. He has made it deep and a large, its fire pit with much wood, the breath of Yahweh as a stream of burning sulfur is in it. Pause for a second. Forgot my water. On to Psalm 18 on page 654. It is 50 verses. Not as long as 119, but I love you, O Yahweh, my strength. Yahweh is my rock and my stronghold and my deliverer. My El is my rock. I take refuge in him, my shield and the horn of my deliverance, my high tower. I call upon Yahweh, the one to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies. The cords of death surround me, and the floods of Belial made me afraid. The cords of Sheol were all around me. The snares of death were before me. In my distress I called upon Yahweh, and to my Elohim I cried. He heard my voice from his heckle, and my cry went before him into his ears, and the earth shook and trembled. Even the foundations of the mountains were troubled, and they shook because he was wroth. Smoke went up from his nostrils, and consuming fire from his mouth. Coals were kindled by it. And he bowed down the heavens and came down, and a thick darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub and flew, and he flew upon the wings of the wind, and he made darkness his concealment, around him his shelter. Darkness of waters, thick clouds of the skies. From the brightness before him, his thick clouds passed, and hail and coal of fire. And Yahweh thundered in the heavens, and the Most High sent forth his voice, hail and coals of fire. And he sent out his arrows and scattered them, as much lightning, and confused them. And the channels of waters were seen, and the foundations of the earth were uncovered. At your rebuke, O Yahweh, at the blast of the breath of your nostrils, he sent from above, he took me. He drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy and from those hating me. For they were stronger than I. They confronted me in the day of my calamity. But Yahweh was my support, and he brought me out into a large place. He delivered me, for he delighted in me. Little rabbit hole real quick. I know. But hey. To Zephaniah. I know I probably butchered that name. Zechariah. No, Zephaniah. Zephaniah Zephaniah 3:17 on page 632. See, where did it go? Lost my train. Drowned waters, confronted me, he delivered me. Oh, okay, verse 19. Psalms 18, verse 19. And he brought me out into a large place. He delivered me, for he delighted in me. Zephaniah 3, verse 17. Yahweh your Elohim in your midst is mighty to save. He rejoices over you with joy. He is silent in his love. He rejoices over you with singing. Singing? Anyway, take it with what you will. It's just a 19 again. And he brought me out into a large place. He delivered me, for he delighted in me. Yahweh rewarded me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanliness of my hands, he repaid me. For I have guarded the ways of Yahweh, and have not acted wrongly against my Elohim. For all his right rulings are before me, and I did not turn away from his laws. And I am perfect before him, and I guard myself from my crookedness. And Yahweh repays me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands before his eyes. With the loving commitment, you show yourself loving committed. With the perfect one, you show yourself perfect. With the clean, you show yourself clean. And with the crooked, you show yourself twisted. For you save the afflicted people, but bring down those whose eyes are haughty. For you yourself light my lamp. Yahweh my Elohim makes my darkness light. For with you I run against a band, and with my Elohim I leap over a wall. The El is perfect. His way is perfect. The word of Yahweh is proven. He is a shield to all who take refuge in him. Who is Elah besides Yahweh? And who is a rock except Elohim? Is it El who girds me with strength and makes my way perfect, making my feet like the feet of a deer, and sets me on high places, teaching my hands for battle, so that my arms shall bend a bow of bronze? And you give me the shield of your deliverance, and your right hand supports me, and your lowliness makes me great. You enlarge my step under me, and my feet shall not slip. I pursue my enemies and overtake them, and do not turn back till they are destroyed. I crush them, and they are unable to rise. They fall under my feet, and you gird me with strength for battle. Cause my adversaries to bow under me, and you have made my enemies turn their backs. As for those hating me, I cut them off. They cry, but no one is there to save. To Yahweh, but he answers them not. And I beat them as dust before the wind. I empty them out like dirt in the streets. You deliver me from the strivings of those people. You deliver me from the strivings of the people. You set me at the head of the nations. A people I have not known serve me. As soon as they hear of me, they obey me. The foreigners submit to me. The foreigners fade away and come frightened from their strongholds. Yahweh lives, and blessed is my rock, and exalted is the Elohim of my deliverance. The El who gives vengeance to me, and he humbles the people under me. He delivered my deliverer from my enemies. You lift me up upon you lift me up above those who rise against me. You deliver me from a man of violence. Therefore, I give thanks to you, O Yahweh, among nations, and I sing praise to your name, making great the deliverance of his sovereign, and showing loving commitment to his anointed, to David and his seed forever. That was Psalms 18. Moving on to Psalms 19 on page 746. Better is the poor walking in his integrity than one of perverse lips, who is a fool. Also, desire without knowledge is not good, and he who hurries with his feet sins. The foolishness of a man perverts his way, and his heart is wroth against Yahweh. Verse 4. Wealth adds many friends, but the poor is separated from his friends. False witness does not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies does not escape. Many entreat the favor of the noble, and all are friends to him who gives gifts. All the brothers of the poor shall hate him. How much more shall his friends go far from him? He pursues promises, they are gone. Let's see, we did again. 7. All the brothers of the poor shall hate him. How much more shall his friends go far from him? He pursues promises, they are gone. 8. He who gets heart loves his own life. He who guards understanding finds good. A false witness does not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies perishes. Luxury is not fitting for a fool, much less for a servant to rule over princes. A man's discretion makes him patient, and his adoring is to pass over a transgression. The sovereign's wrath is like the roaring of a lion, but his delight is like dew on the grass. A foolish son is a calamity to his father, and the contentions of a wife are a continual dripping. Houses and riches are the inheritance from fathers, but an understanding wife is from Yahweh. Laziness makes one fall into a deep sleep, and an idle being suffers hunger. He who guards the commands guards his life. He who despises his ways dies. He who shows favor to the poor lends to Yahweh, and he repays his deed. Discipline your son, because there is expectation, and do not set your being on his destruction. One of great wrath bears punishment, for if you rescue him, you only have to do it again. 20. Listen to the counsel and accept discipline, so that you are wise in the latter end. Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the counsel of Yahweh that stands. What is desirable in a man is his loving commitment, and a poor man is better than a liar. The fear of Yahweh leads to life, and he remains satisfied. He is not visited by evil. A lazy one buries his hand in a dish and does not bring it back to his mouth. Strike a scoffer, and the simple is made wise, and reprove one who has understanding, and he discerns knowledge. He who plunders a father chases away his mother, is a son causing shame and bringing reproach. Cease, my son, to hear discipline, and you shall stray from the words of knowledge. A witness of Belial scorns right ruling, and the mouth of the wrong ones devours wickedness. Judgments are in store for scoffers, and beatings are for the backs of fools. Finishing up with 2 Corinthians chapter 6 on page 1124, 1124. And working together, we also call upon you not to receive the favor, blessing of Elohim in vain. For he says, in an acceptable time I have heard you, and in a day of deliverance I have helped you. See, now it is the well-accepted time. See, now is the day of deliverance. Isaiah 49:8. Giving no cause to stumbling in whatever, so that the service is not blamed. Rather, we commend ourselves as servants of Elohim in every way, as much endurance in pressures, in hardships, in distresses, in stripes, in imprisonments, in disturbances, in turmoils, in watchings, in fasting, in cleanliness, in knowledge, in patience, in kindness, in the set-apart spirit, in love unfeigned, in the words of truth, in the power of Elohim, through the weapons of righteousness, on the right and on the left, through the esteem and disrespect, through evil report and good report, regarded as deceivers and yet true, as unknown and yet well known, as dying and see we live, as disciplined and not yet killed, as sad yet always rejoicing, as poor yet enriching many, as having none and possessing it all. Our mouth has spoken openly to you, O Corinthians. Our heart is wide open. You are not restrained by us, but you are restrained by your own afflictions. But for the same reward I speak to children. Open wide your hearts too. Do not become unevenly yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness and lawlessness? And what fellowship has light with darkness? And what agreement has Messiah with Belial? Or what part does a believer have with an unbeliever? And what union has the dwelling place of Elohim with idols? For you are a dwelling place of the living Elohim. As Elohim has said, I shall dwell in them and walk among them, and I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. Leviticus 26, verse 12. Therefore I come out from among them and be separate, says Yahweh, and do not touch what is unclean, and I shall receive you. Isaiah 52:11. And I shall be a father to you, and you shall be sons and daughters to me, says the mighty Yahweh the mighty. Isaiah 43:6 and Hoshea 1 verse 10. Thank you. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible and talk to the Father.